Welcome back. We are now in this marathon build-up, and it's going to be non-stop. The finance minister actually starts delivering her speech in just under an hour from now. Ladies and gentlemen, mine will be the last generation that remembers when the union budget was the be-all and end-all. Because 25 years ago, 30 years ago, the government ran the economy. Now the government manages the economy. 25, 30 years ago, this speech and every businessman, every employee, every person in the country would be on tenterhooks because lives and fates and fortunes would be decided on what was done. Not so much anymore. A large part of what government earns, GST is anyway out of the budget, it's in a GST council somewhere else. And a broader understanding that the budget speech is telling you government priority areas, where the thrust of the theme is, what the conceptualization of what is urgent seems to be. Everything else in terms of policy happens here around. You hear the ministries announcing programs and plans all the time, at every given opportunity, in fact. So the budgetary exercise that comes up with something we've never heard of before hasn't happened in a long time. So you will rather see an accounting exercise, a themology, hopefully some good news, even though the news on the GDP front could have been a little bit better yesterday. But overall, the country is doing well. We're heading in the right place. We would want to be doing better. Now, within that, for all of us, what remains other than the devil in the detail is, frankly, what happens to income taxes and what happens to the stock markets and how do they digest. Everything else is devil in the detail. So let me pick up this conversation and try my best to have it. Bindu Dalmia joining us on the broadcast, Jayajit Bhattacharya is with us, Wing Commander Sudhakaran with us, and Mithali joining us as well. Jayajit, let me start with you. Okay, so I want to start the macro picture with you because everything looks great. We are seeing the highways, we are seeing the train stations, we are seeing the iPhones, we are seeing, defense production happening. It seems to be going just fine. Inflation is under, everything seems to be fine. But our GDP figures just won't go past 7%. They're just stubborn. What's the problem?
The devil lies in the details. So as you rightly said, the economic survey is like the report card, and the report card kind of gives us an A grade in terms of how we are handling economy. But then why doesn't it feel good? And if you look at the details of how income is happening, the income of the middle class is happening. That is getting challenged because of multiple factors, including inflation. And so the discretionary power of the discretionary spend of the middle class is getting curtailed. Along with it, it was an election year. And as we all know that the infrastructure spending by the government was also curtailed, which also hit the incomes of the middle class, because that's how the two are connected. Because of the government spend, the incomes finally petered down to the middle class. And one led to the other. So in terms of structural issue, was there really a structural issue? Not really. It was more about how the infrastructure spend of the government took a backseat because of elections, and not really a backseat. There was a model code of conduct that came in, and therefore expenditure was curtailed for about a quarter and not much. And that reflected in the weakening of the demand. Also, for sure, there has been an inflation. There has been a significant food inflation, which you can't really control through monetary policies or fiscal policies. You have to control it through demand, through supply side economics. And with climate change and geopolitical disruption, that was a challenge.
But something's a problem because, Jayajit, last year, 2024, the highest ever bumper crop, of wheat. So record production.